Welcome to HDTV. You now rocking with your boy. We have reached 100 subscribers. Man, it's been a long time coming now. This is going to be the recap of week 4. In the NFL. This is going to be a long video. If I'm letting you know now, so if you want to stay, you can stay on. If you don't, man, hey, sorry for you. I'm finna talk about the games. I'm finna recap them one by one. The ones I've watched. The other ones, you have to watch it on your own or go watch the highlights. I'm not paying extra money for no ticket, no NFL ticket. So, let's see. The first game, what was the first game on? Okay, it was Cleveland and Dallas. I want to get this bullshit game out the way. This game was terrible. Dallas defensively, they're horrible. But at the same time, it just seems like week after week, Dak can only play from behind. For some reason, this guy can't play from the beginning, but it's like early on, when he starts, it's like, okay, they started off fast. Basically, they started off fast. The Browns got a touchdown early on the ground. Basically, it was from Kareem Hunt, I believe. No, the first one was Odell. I believe Odell got the first touchdown from Landry on a trick play through it. No, excuse me, that was later. First touchdown, I believe, came from Kareem Hunt rushing. Kareem Hunt had 11 carries, 71 yards, 2 TDs. Chubb got hurt. He got kind of bent up, but he was on his way to destroying the Cowboys, man. If he would have played, they probably would have put up 50-some or 60 points. Hunt was averaging 7 yards per carry, so was Nick. Odell, he had 2 carries for 73 yards. He got that touchdown at the end to seal the game, and that was 37 yards he was averaging. And then Dearness Johnson came in, and he had 13 carries for 95 yards and 7 yards per carry. Baker Mayfield playing game manager, and that's how Baker Mayfield plays. Game managing. He threw 2 TDs, but he attempted 30 throws. And that's what I kept saying. If Baker Mayfield completes between 25 to 35 passes or throws or attempt that, the Browns will be a dangerous team. They will make the playoffs and they will cause some noise this year. Because defensively, they're okay, but they're not all that. But their front four is pretty good. Now, Jarvis had a touchdown on the trick play through the Odell. I think that put him up by 2 touchdowns going into the second half or 3. And receiving, Odell had 5 receptions, 81 yards, 2 TDs. And he had Jarvis had 5 receptions, 48 yards. Bryant caught some good passes. Hooper was balling. He was killing the Cowboys. Fumble wise, Sendejo on defense forced a fumble on Dak, and then Garrett got I think he got Zeke with one. Interceptions, Denzel Ward got a pick, and defensively, Terrence Mitchell had 11 tackles, and that was their corner. Your corner can't have all the tackles, but it happens in that game. Defensively, the Browns have to make some plays. They got to tighten up. They got to the quarterback. It was pressure. Myles Garrett. And this is what DeMarcus Lawrence has to see. Myles Garrett is living up to his contract. He had 2 big sacks, a tackle for a loss. He's been balling, man. Where have you been at? And this game basically came down to the Browns made more plays and they didn't turn the ball over. Cowboys, Dak had a fantasy football, numbers, 41, 58, 502 yards, 4 TDs a pick. Zeke had 12 carries, 54 yards, averaged 5 yards per carry. Pollard got a touchdown with 3 carries of 16 yards. Pollard needs to be put in the offense more for Dallas. I think if they put him in the offense to split with Zeke, they could do some damage and they can make some noise. Cooper had a quiet 12 receptions, 134 yards, had a TD. CeeDee Lamb was balling, 5 receptions, 79 yards, 2 TDs. Dalton Schultz got a TD, 4 receptions, 72 yards. I believe he's questionable for this week. Ezekiel had 8 receptions for 71 yards. Noah Brown caught some big catches for 43 yards, and Ced Williams got 3 for 34. Gallup had 2 for 29. And Blake Bell caught some. Pollard caught some. Zeke and Dak had a fumble. They lost one, and that's what turned the game. Those 3 turnovers killed Dallas. And defensively, they're terrible, man. The defense is terrible. DeMarcus Lawrence has some big tackles against the run, but pass rushing wise, he's terrible. He hasn't been doing nothing. And the pass rushing, Everson Griffin ain't do nothing. Their whole defense is just throw the whole defense away. I mean, it's Dallas is terrible. I don't think that and the Eagles just won their game, but the Eagles didn't look that impressive. But I know one thing, the Eagles have a defense. But to me, the Eagles and Cowboys do not look good. The whole East is terrible. And yeah, people are going to say, well, the Eagles, they beat the Niners, didn't have nobody. Jimmy G was hurt. Everybody's hurt on their team, and they barely beat the Niners. If that one dumb quarterback, Mullins, didn't throw that pick directly to the linebacker, they could have went down the field and scored. So to me, all Dallas has to do is figure out why they can't start off fast. When it was tied 14-14, Dak he didn't make the throws. And I agree with Shannon. He didn't make the throws. So Dallas played putrid on defense. Defensively, they're done. But the Browns impressed me yesterday. Baker Mayfield, if they keep him between 25 to 35 passing attempts, the Browns will be dangerous. They will be a dangerous team, but I have to see them play some real competition because they've been playing some bums the past few weeks. As a team, total yards, Dallas had more, 566 to 508. Passing yards, Dallas had 481 to their 201. Rushing yards, Cleveland killed them, 307 to Dallas 85. And Dallas is not running the ball well. I don't know what it is, but they need to run Pollard more. Pollard, you have to give him a rhythm. If Zeke's not going, you got to get Pollard involved. That's what the Browns was doing. Chubb was getting it going, and then they would throw Hunt in there when they needed to. But when Chubb got hurt, they still had another running back in Johnson to help Kareem. And they was killing the Cowboys. Average yards per play, Dallas won that. It was tied basically 7-7. Points scored, of course, Cleveland. Fumbles lost, Dallas had 2. Cleveland interceptions thrown, none. They had no fumbles or interceptions, and that's what killed the game was turnovers. Sacks allowed, Dallas had 3 to their 2. Both lines did their best. Third down efficiency, Dallas outplayed Cleveland on the third down, 54 to 45. But this is what also won the game. Time of possession, Dallas only had the ball for 26 minutes compared to Cleveland's 33. That's a 7-minute difference. That is huge. Dallas has got to find a way to run the ball. You have to run the ball. Your defense is not good for you guys to keep throwing this damn ball all the time. You have to run the ball. You have to figure out a way to get Pollard and Zeke the ball because that'll help your defense rest. You can't give your defense short fields. Dak fumbled, Zeke fumbled. That killed your defense. Now the Browns, they capitalize. Penalties, 5-6. Cleveland, Dallas had more than Cleveland by 1. So the penalties really was a factor. It was the interception thrown by Dak, and then it was the 2 fumbles lost. The Dallas Cowboys have to do soul searching. Stop believing in the hype. Stop always every day. Oh we're going to the Super Bowl. How? In the second and third quarter, Dallas put up 0 points compared to the Browns' second quarter. They dropped 24, and in the third, they dropped 10. They dropped 10. You guys went scoreless in the second and third quarter. That cannot happen. And your defense gave up 24 points in the second and 10 in the third because you guys aren't running the ball. This game was a B minus. Now I give this game a B because I love what the Browns did. Odell Beckham is finally playing like a receiver. He's playing like a team player. He's playing like a team player. He did his job. Kareem Hunt did his job. The defense, Richardson, Garrett, and them boys, they was on that line. Olivier Vernon was killing. They did their job, even though they gave up 38, but they just always seemed in control to me. The Browns just never looked like they were out of control. I tip my hat off to Baker Mayfield this week. He proved it. He's shutting me up right now. He's proven he's a good quarterback. That's all I need him to do is manage the game. If Baker manages the game, they will be tough to beat. And that new coach they got, he knows how to coach. Mike McCarthy, right now, you are showing that defense doesn't matter. Your defense is trash, man. Mike Nolan, you have got to go to the drawing board. You have got to blitz more. You have to run more stunts. You guys have got to be tougher in your front seven. You guys are terrible against the run. Y'all gave up 300 some yards on the ground. Y'all gave up a total of 200 in the air. That's unacceptable. I could deal with the 200 passing yards, but the 307 rushing, oh, come on, that's hard. That's toughness. You guys have to dig deep for your soul searching because you guys played trash. But this game was a B. The only reason I gave it a B was because the Browns came out, punched Dallas in the mouth, and they stayed with the lead, and they continue controlling the game. Now, the other game, Tampa Bay and the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this game in the first half, it was terrible for the Bucs. The Bucs got beat up 24-14 in the first half. But what messed up the Chargers was when they ran the ball and the guy fumbled and gave Tom Brady some points when he got 7. When he was able to get 7, that killed him. And that just shows you their defense is on point. Now, the Chargers, Justin Herbert went 20 for 25, 290 yards, 3 TDs, and a pick. He played a fairly decent game. For a rookie, he has been looking poised and looking good. Carries, this is what killed him. Ekeler and I think Ekeler got hurt. I think he's the one who got hurt. Yeah, Ekeler got hurt. When Ekeler got hurt, that messed their whole running game up. Because he was their running game, and then after that, they didn't have anybody. Justin Jackson only gave you 9 yards for 6 carries, only 2 per carry, and Kelly gave you 7 yards for 9 carries. So their running game was done. Their receiving, Guyton and Allen had Guyton had just 1 reception. He had a TD for 72 yards. Keenan had 8 receptions, 62 yards. Johnson had 1 reception, 53 yards. Hunter Henry, 2 receptions, 39 yards, and Joshua Kelly, 3 receptions, 26 yards. So that was okay. But Joshua Kelly fumbled the ball and he lost 1. Michael Davis got a pick for a TD. And that was when he picked Brady off. Brady tried to throw it out again, and that out for Brady. Brady just don't have it when he throws that out. Defensively, 8 tackles, 2 assists for White. Murray had 6 tackles, 4 assists. Hayward, 4 tackles and assists. Desmond King, 4 tackles and assists. So the defense was okay, but The Chargers are a young team, man. The Chargers, they're going to be in competition with a lot of teams this year. They're going to give teams trouble. Even though they're 1-3, they could be easily 3-1. But what messed them up was the second half, Tampa outscored them 24-7. You can't have that. You got to finish. You started out good, but you didn't finish. You only got 7 points in the third, and you were held to 0 points in the fourth. That's defense by the Bucs. Tom Brady, 30 for 46, 369 yards, 5 TDs. TB12 is in the building. Only threw 1 pick. Ronald Jones, man, that number 27 Ronald Jones, man, he's a baller. 20 carries, 111 yards, average 6 yards per carry, and that's what the Bucs need is balance. They had balance. This is Dallas. This is what you need. You see what Brady did, Dak? See, you getting all these points in the first and then the fourth, but the second and third, Brady was consistent. He was consistent. You got to learn that, Dak. You got to go learn from Tom Brady. Brady is showing you how to quarterback. Mike Evans has 7 receptions, 122 yards for a TD. He was playing gimpy a little bit, hurt a little bit, but he came back and did his thing. Scott Miller, 5 receptions, 83 yards, a TD. O.J. Howard had 3 receptions, 50 yards, a TD. Gronk only had 1 catch. Keyshawn Vaughn caught 2 catches, 22 yards, and a TD. And Cameron Brate got a TD. Ndamukong Suh changed the game. Before the end of the first half, he forced a fumble, and it was covered by Devin White, and that really helped them. Levante David is showing that he's probably one of the best linebackers in the game, if not the best, or in the top 5. 10 tackles, solo, 1 assist, 1 tackle for loss. Shaquille Barrett had a sack and a tackle for loss. He's been balling. Whitehead, 4 tackles, 1 sack. This defense is very opportunistic, and that's what you need, and I still believe the Bucs will win the South. I think the next time they play the Saints, they are going to give it to the Saints. They play balanced. They're listening to Tom Brady. Bruce Arians, in that game, if they would have had Jameis, as much as I love Jameis, they would have lost that game 2 days ago, if Jameis was quarterbacking. It's just the truth. So, let's look at the team. Tampa Bay had 484 to LAC's 324. Passing yards, 369 to 278. Rushing yards, 115 to 46. Average yards per play was 7 for both teams. Fumbles lost. The Chargers had 1. Interceptions thrown, they both had 1. Brady threw a bad pass. That out pass is just not helping them. The Chargers gave up 2 sacks. Tampa Bay didn't. And Brady showed third down efficiency was 45 to 40. Time of possession, the Bucs won 35 minutes to 25. And penalties, the Bucs had more by 1, which they had 8. The Chargers had 7. But what Tom Brady showed in this game was fortitude. He was getting hit like crazy. First half, he had a terrible first half, but that's what makes him the GOAT. He stood in there, took his hits, took his lumps, came back, and destroyed the Chargers. Tom Brady right now is looking like an MVP candidate. I think we ought to start watching him. He had a great game. Tom Brady played his butt off, and his respect. Tom Brady is showing these young quarterbacks, this is how you quarterback. And he's leading. He's teaching guys why he's out there. But the Bucs also, they got to learn how to run routes, man. Like that out pass, the guy ran too deep. He has to run a little shorter, and he would have caught that pass. But Tampa Bay 3-1, they're looking good. This game, I gave this game a B+. This was a good game. This has been the best Sunday so far because Tom Brady showed at the end of the game, I'm the GOAT. We're going to win. He took the team on his shoulders and he made the throws, he made the play, and he had a running game in Jones. Jones was running. The Bucs have found their running back. So when Leonard Fournette gets right, you can add him with Ronald Jones. It's going to be a problem. And Brady attempted 46 passes. I would like him to attempt a little less, like 30 to 35 attempts. But hey, you got to do what you got to do to win. So tip your hat off to the Bucs. They balled out. Now, the next game was Las Vegas and Buffalo. Now, this game here, man, was physical. This is an A. I give this game an A. This was probably the best game of the weekend that I watched. That was on TV for me to watch. The Buffalo Bills had 7 in the first quarter, 10 in the second. Las Vegas had 3 points in the first, then 10. And then they had 3 in the third quarter. And then 0 for the Bills. 13 the Bills scored to close it out to their 7. And Diggs and Abram, man, they were going at it. I thought they was finna fight for a minute. I'm like, oh man, these dudes finna go at it. They are not playing. But Josh Allen showed me something. Josh Allen is showing me he's a top 7, top 8 quarterback. He's really proven it. 24 for 34, 288 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. He had some help on the ground by Devin Singletary, who was 18 carries, 55 yards. Averaged 3 per carry. Stephon Diggs has 7 receptions, 115 yards. Brown had 4 receptions, 42 yards. Cole Beasley came out the woodworks. 3 receptions, 32 yards, and a TD. And Gabriel Davis had a TD. They forced a fumble. Josh Norman came back from the dead, forced a fumble. Quentin Jefferson forced a fumble, and they recovered it. Both of them recovered it. And interceptions, none. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds, Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde, and them guys was out there along with Norman. They were knocking guys out. They were hitting the whole game. They were physical, and it shows. I think the Bills they're going to win the AFC East, man. Like, I think soundly. I don't, unless Cam comes back for the Patriots, it's over. It's over for that division. But, Josh Allen did his thing. He showed poise in the pocket. He showed he's grown from a year ago. And he's challenging guys for being the best QB in the league. To me, he ought to be an MVP candidate. He did good yesterday. Diggs balled out. Diggs was going at it with the defense of the Raiders. They tried to get physical with him. He got physical back. Great game. Now the Raiders. Derek Carr was 32 for 44, 311 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. Josh Jacobs had 15 carries, 48 yards. Receiving, Darren Waller had 9 receptions, 88 yards. He missed some passes. He missed some catches down the stretch that could have helped them get back in the game. Renfro, 5 receptions, 57 yards. Aguilar, the old Philly receiver, 4 receptions, 44 yards, a TD. Fumbles. Derek fumbled once. He lost it. Waller fumbled, lost it. Renfro fumbled, but they got it back. Eric Anderson, Corey Littleton, they were out there hitting. Mullen, Lawson's, and Abram, man. Jonathan Abram, man. He's the most physical safety I've seen in a long time. Seriously. He was out there hitting. He was about to fight Diggs. He was finna fight everybody on the Bills sideline. That boy was out there playing like Sean Teasy from back in the day. Just reckless abandonment, hitting everybody. Now, the problem with the Raiders were turnovers. This is what I talked about with the Dallas game. You can't turn the ball over in key situations, and they did. They had a chance to take the game over and win it, but it was a fumble after fumble, drop passes. It was just the whole thing. If the Raiders learn how to close, the Las Vegas Raiders will challenge for the AFC West because the Chiefs do not look that impressive to me. I know C-Pen gonna be like, man, stop hating, man. I'm not hating C-Pen, but your Chiefs, they played like Superman against the Ravens, but against everybody else, they're playing like Lois Lane right now, bro. Seriously. They're not playing real tough right now. So that's how it goes. Turnovers are a big key, but C Pen, I'm telling you, the Chiefs do not look that good, and they can be beaten, especially if it comes down to one game in a playoff. Now, Las Vegas, if they clean this up and they learn how to close at the end, they're going to be dangerous. I still got them making the playoffs. I know they're 2-2. I think they can make the playoffs. But Buffalo showed me something. They showed when a team gets physical with them. Josh Allen got hit and he got kind of gimpy. He fell on his arm trying to throw the ball up, toss it up. He fell on it. But that didn't slow him down. He came back second half and, made the throws to win the game. He did his job. That's the difference between Josh Allen and Dak Prescott. Josh Allen closes, Dak doesn't. Derek Carr, the same with them. Derek Carr didn't close. Derek Carr, if you learn how to not, and Derek Carr has to work on his fumble problem because since I think this year he's leading in fumbles lost. And that's not good for your quarterback. Because that means that defenders know, we can get him. So tip your hat off. This game was an A. Tip your hat off to the Bills. The Bills are proving, look, Brady ain't here no more. We're finna take over. And we don't know when Cam gonna come back. So, yeah, I give them the AFCs. The Bills are gonna take it. Great game. And like I said, let's see, the total yards was 383 to 336. Las Vegas won that. Passing yards, Vegas had more with 297, 274. Buffalo had 62 and Vegas won that. 86 rushing yards. Average yards per play, 6 to 6. Fumbles lost, Vegas 2. None by Buffalo. No interceptions thrown on either side. Sacks allowed. Buffalo had 1 to Vegas' 2. Third down efficiency, 57% for Las Vegas. Buffalo 53. Time of possession really wasn't too bad. It was about 3 minutes. Buffalo lost that 31-28. Penalties, Vegas had 7. Buffalo had 5. So basically, the fumbles really cost the Raiders the game. If the Raiders can clean that up, clean up the turnovers, they win this game. And I think they're going to be a tough team to play. I still think Vegas can make the wild card, and I'm sticking to it, but this game was an A. Tip your hat off to the Bills. They balled out. Now, this trash-ass game, Philly and San Francisco. Fly, Eagles, fly. The NFC East is, to me, going to come down to the last part of the season because Philadelphia did not look good, and they weren't going against nobody. Wentz did good managing the game, 18 for 28, 193 yards, TD to a pick. Miles Sanders got shut down, 13 carries, 46 yards, only averaged 4 per carry, but he was coming back from an injury. Wentz gave you 7 carries, 37 yards. Hurts came in there and gave you 3 carries, 18 yards. Wentz got to be careful, man, because Wentz is throwing his body too much in harm's way, and he's not durable. So San Fran was getting some hits on him. So receiving, Fulgham stepped up, 2 receptions, 57 yards, a TD. Greg Ward did his thing, 4 receptions, 38 yards. So the offense really didn't do nothing. The defense balled out. Rodney McLeod balled out. He got a pick and a touchdown, and Alex Singleton got the pick and a touchdown. Rodney McLeod got a pick. Nate Gary Yeah, Rodney McLeod did good. Darius Slay, I think he got nicked up. He came back later, I believe, or he was out. Defensively, the Eagles did good, but the Eagles don't look impressive to me. You struggled against a Nick Mullins who gave y'all the game. Because if Nick Mullins wouldn't have threw that pick right to Singleton and he ran it back to the house, the Niners win this game. I tip my hat off to Kyle Shanahan. He did a job. He's doing a great job with his guys being out. You know he can coach. Mullins went 18 for 26, 200 yards, a TD, and threw two dumbass picks. Beathard tried to save the game. He went 14 for 19, 138. That ain't help. His receivers were dropping passes. And Mullins, some of the receivers are dropping passes. McKinnon had 14 carries, 54 yards. Ayuk had a carry for 38. Debo had 1 for 10. Receiving, Kittle balled out, 15 receptions, 183 yards, a TD. McKinnon, 7 receptions, 43 yards. Debo had 3 receptions, 35 yards. Fumbles, Nick Mullins fumbled as well. He lost it. So interceptions, Azeez Al-Shaair had a pick on Wentz. Quan Alexander was balling. Armstead was balling. The Niners defense is legit, man. They're going to keep you in games. Offensively, Mullins, you cannot throw 2 costly picks. You cost your team the game. And then you threw the pick right to the linebacker. I'm like, what are you doing? The Niners could have won this game. They could have won. And Shannon on Undisputed bragging. I'm like, Shannon, it don't matter if the Eagles win. They're a first-round exit. Whoever make it out the East to the playoffs, they're a first-round exit. Period. The Niners, they showed championship DNA. When they get their people back, they're going to be dangerous. The Niners are going to be dangerous. When they get their people back, they're going to be dangerous. So this game here was a D plus, maybe a C. The Eagles should have dominated. People trying to say, well, they had people hurt. Listen, I'm tired of hearing about Wentz don't have a supporting cast. They're hurt. No, they're NFL players. They played. They came out there and balled out. Wentz, they should have beat the Niners by 3 touchdowns. I don't want to hear that crap. They didn't have all their people on offense. Wentz had some people. It was Miles Sanders and a couple other guys was there. Ertz was there. Let me see. Was Ertz there? Did Ertz play? Yeah, Ertz played. So that's what I'm saying. All these excuses. Y'all make all these excuses for Wentz, man. And it's like, come on, stop it. Total yards, San Francisco won it. Like I said, San Francisco dominated Philly the whole game. If Mullins wouldn't have threw those 2 dumbass picks and that fumble, the Niners would be 3-1 and the Eagles would be 0-3-1. The Eagles and Dallas should really all be 0 for right now. The whole East should just be 0 for whatever. But Washington should be the only one with a 1 win. The total yards, like I said, San Fran 417 to 267. Passing yards 301 San Fran to 174 Philly. Rushing yards 116 for San Fran to 93 Philly. Average yards per play 5 for Philly to San Fran 6. Points scored, Philly had 25. San Fran had 20. Of course, fumbles lost. San Fran lost that as well. And interceptions, they lost that 2-1. Philly only had 1. Sacks allowed. Philly had 3 allowed. San Fran had 5. Third down efficiency, Philly was terrible. They were 30%. San Fran was 45%. Time of possession, Philly was at 29 while San Fran was at 30. So it was only a minute apart. So this game was a toss-up. Penalties, San Fran has 6, the Phillies 3. San Fran would have won this game. Mullins cost them the game. This game was a D plus, maybe a C minus. Philly should have blew this team out. They showed to me that they're not ready. The NFC East is trash. Whoever wins, they're a first round exit. It don't matter if the Giants come back and win it, a Redskins win it, the Cowboys win it, the Eagles, they're trash. They're done. But in the West, I like San Fran. San Fran shows if they can get their guys back, clean up those turnovers, they will make the playoffs. So tip your hat off to the Eagles for winning that, surviving. Doug Peterson did his job with whatever he had. He had to do his job, and he did it. That's how you coach. Mike McCarthy needs to take notes of that, and so does who was the other coach? Who was the other coach? Yeah, Mike McCarthy needs to learn something, and Anthony Wynn, he needs to also learn that you can't have these fumbles, and he should have kneeled the ball instead of running it in the Tampa game. So that's how I feel. San Fran should have won this game, but it is what it is. NFC East suck. Whoever comes out of it, they're not going to win it. They're going to be out in the first round. Now, Monday Night Football. Like I said, it's going to be a long video. If you still stuck around, thank you. If you didn't, sorry. I'll try to do better next time. Now, New England and Kansas City. This is what's crazy to me. Even though it's 26-10, if not for those turnovers by the Patriots, they would have won this game against Kansas City. Kansas City, to me, out of all the undefeated teams, they didn't look that impressive. Pat Mahomes, he had a good stat line. He 19 for 29, which is good. 236 yards, 2 TDs. He had help from Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's to me looking like offensive rookie of the year so far. 16 carries to 64 yards. Receiving, Travis Kelce had 3 receptions, 70 yards. Tyreek Hill, 4 receptions, 64 yards, a TD. Sammy Watkins, 4 receptions, 43. Hardman had 4 receptions, 27 yards, and a TD. Defensively, Tyrann Mathieu got a pick. I believe he got a touchdown. Did Matthew get a touchdown? No, he didn't get a touchdown. He just got a pick. He got a pick. Rashad Finnan got a pick, and so did Thornhill. Thornhill balled out 6 tackles. Tyrann Mathieu showing. Frank Clark saved the game, man. He got a sack and a tackle for loss that really, really put the Patriots in a hole. That defense for the Chiefs is very underrated. They need to get more praise, because if it wasn't for them, the Patriots would have. If the Patriots had Cam, they'd have beat these guys by a touchdown or 2. But tip your hat off, the Chiefs show championship DNA. The Patriots, Brian Hoyer went 15 for 24, 130 yards, had a pick. Stidham came in, had 5 for 13, 60 yards, a TD, and 2 picks. Belichick will clean that up. They'll be back next week, whether with Cam or Stidham starting. Damian Harris had 17 carries, 100 yards. He did his thing, averaged 6 yards per carry. They were running all over the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs need to work on their run defense, but their pass defense is good. Rex Burkhead, 11 carries, 45 yards. I need Burkhead to get at least 15 to 18 touches, because he can run that rock. Average 4 per carry. James White was good on third downs, 3 carries, 21 yards. Damiere Byrd had 5 receptions, 80 yards. N'Keal Harry had 3 receptions, 21 yards, a TD. White had 7, 38 yards. Edelman had 3 receptions, 35 yards, and 3 drops. He dropped 1, and it got picked off by I think Matthew, and was ran back to the house. Edelman looks terrible right now. Defensively, Jones, McCourty, Guy, Gilmore, Simon. What they did their job. They did the best they could for what they had. But this game just showed me what the Chiefs didn't do. This game, even though it was 26-10, it was a lot closer than that. It was a lot closer than that. Like I said, the Chiefs put up 6 in the first. New England did nothing. They put up 3 in the second. Then the Chiefs put up 7 in the third. And New England put up 7 in the fourth, and 13 by Kansas City. Like I said, this game here, total yards, New England beat them. 357, 323 passing yards. KC had 229 yards to their 172. Rushing yards, New England won that 185 to Kansas City 94. Average yards per play, 6 for Kansas City to 5 by New England. Fumbles lost, both had 1. Interceptions thrown, this is what killed New England. They had 3 interceptions to Kansas City 0. Sacks allowed, New England had 2 to Kansas City 1. Third down efficiency, both teams were terrible. 40% for New England, 36 for Kansas City. Time of possession, Kansas City had 28 to 31 by New England. New England won that. Penalties, they both were tied. So this game came down to the interceptions thrown. If New England cleans that turnovers over, they can make the playoffs. I got them making the playoffs, and then they get Cam back. This is going to be a dangerous team, man. The Patriots are going to be dangerous. Because if they could have had Cam last night to make a couple good throws and played hard defense and not turn the ball over, Chiefs would have lost the game. But the Chiefs don't look that good. But they're 4-0. Tip your hat off to them. Good job, Kansas City. You did your job. Now the last game, Atlanta and Green Bay. Atlanta really lost this game. Atlanta put up 0 in the first to Green Bay 7. Then Green Bay put up 13. Atlanta's 3. Third quarter, Atlanta put up 6 to Green Bay 7. And Atlanta won the fourth quarter 7 to their 3. Matt Ryan had 28 for 39, 285 yards. Gurley was running 16 carries, 57 yards. I wish they give Gurley the ball more. He averaged 4 yards per carry, 2 TDs he got. Receiving, Zacchaeus had 8 receptions, 86 yards. Hayden Hurst had 4 receptions, 51 yards. Christian Blake balled out, 3 receptions, 47 yards. Julio was hurt, man. Julio just looked dead out there, man. 4 receptions, 32 yards. He looked okay, but the front 7 for Atlanta was getting Aaron Rodgers. They were doing the best they could, but the Packers just took this game over, man. But on defense, the Falcons, Deion Jones had 6 tackles, 2 assists, 1 for a loss. 6 tackles for Kendall Sheffield, 4 Olukun, 5 tackles, 3 assisted. You know, Carter was getting burnt all night. I think that was number 30. I think that was number 35. Yeah, he got murdered all night. Aaron Rodgers picked him apart. And to me, everybody's talking about Aaron Rodgers, but you got to talk about Aaron Rodgers' supporting cast. Now, Aaron had 27 for 33, 327 yards, 4 TDs. Aaron Jones had 15 carries for 71 yards. Jamal had 8 for 10, but receiving, Robert Tonyan, 6 receptions, 98 yards, 3 TDs. Jamal Williams had 8 receptions, 95 yards. Aaron Jones, 5 receptions, 40 yards. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 4 receptions, 45 yards. Dog, their offensive weapons is nasty. So Aaron, I don't want to hear no excuse from Green Bay fans. If y'all don't close it out or win it all this year, I don't want to hear it. Aaron Rodgers is getting too many passes. For the past 3-4 years, he's had talent. So no more excuses. Defensively, Zadarius Smith was balling. He was in the backfield, 3 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 2 assists. I love his shirt talking about Breonna Taylor, loved it. Summers and Savage were out there hitting. Both of them had 6 or 5 tackles, 1 assist each. The Packers defense is vicious, man. The Packers got a defense and a supporting cast, and I would not be surprised if they go far, man. I would not be surprised if they go far, man. But Aaron Rodgers, he looks okay. I think people are overreacting. He always stats pads and he front runs. I want to see what happens when they're down, when they're in a tough game. You know, this game here was C. Because it's against the Falcons. Come on. And the Packers, they got some plays in between, but it's like, come on. They could have scored more, but tip your hat off to them. They played a good game. The Falcons, they need to fire their coach. They just need to start all over. They need to let Matt Ryan go, and they need to go from there and rebuild. They're done. So that was all the recaps, man. Tell me in the comment section what teams that surprised you yesterday, and who do you feel could make an impact? Who do you feel will turn it around that's winless and has only one win? Who do you feel? To me, this it was a good weekend of football, man. Football was great. Everything was good. Now, to me, the best game, like I said, was that Las Vegas and that Bills game. The Bills look like the best team to me. They look like the best team to me right now in the league. The Chiefs, like I said, C-Pen, I would be worried about that. You guys played well, but everybody else besides the Ravens, you guys have struggled with. Now, you guys are closing. I give you that. Your Chiefs are closing. But when they play a real formidable opponent, I want to see how they can dig up out of it. All right, they already showed once they can handle it by beating the Ravens, but I want to see them against the Bills, and I want to see them against Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh didn't play because of that COVID situation by the Titans messing up. But I want to see how they do. But like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and select all. We reached over 100 subscribers. Over 100. Thank you guys for subscribing to the page. If you want to donate to the page, cash at me at welcome to HDTV. That's the word welcome, the number 2, the HDIITV, and I'm on Cash App. You can find me. And thank you for listening, man. I hope you enjoyed my breakdown. If you didn't like what I did, let me know. If you want me to do more of a breakdown, I'll do my best. I was trying to save time by just going quickly through all of them. But thank you guys for supporting the page, man. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you all, man. I love you guys, man. Thank you. Tell your friends about the page so they can subscribe. I'm trying to at least get to 1,000, man, by early next year, man, or whenever it comes. So keep subscribing and keep sharing. Thank you guys, man. I love you all, man. I really appreciate it. It's because of you guys that this page is rolling. And shoot, man, we out. L to the Y to the V-E, boy.